we go. Looks like we're broadcasting now. I want to come on here today. It's 4th of July and just share something that I had written and share some thoughts. So let's go and get to the basic introduction. I am Brother Michael Champion, as many of you already know that follow the videos. Before I do this, I want to get into a little bit of an advertisement. I also have a YouTube channel by the name of As It Was in the Days of Noah and Lot. There's about 45, 50 videos on there right now. Basically, it's these older videos that I have broken down, and the hour-long programs have been turned into four-part series. The sermons, I'm putting them on there. So if you find this stuff interesting, you might want to follow it on YouTube. There's going to be a lot less restrictions on YouTube than what I have on Facebook to share. So go ahead and tune over and like that channel as well. A lot of good stuff I think is going to come out of all this. But anyway, I said some older videos are on there now. I got like four or five playlists within that one channel. But anyway, let's go ahead and jump into this. Some things I want to share with you, some thoughts that I had, some ideas. You know, because the 4th of July, there's going to be a lot of stuff going on. But anyway, let's go ahead and jump into this. Oh, excuse me. I'm sorry about that. All right. Today we celebrate nearly 250 years since the founding of our republic. Many people will undoubtedly be going to the beach, having cookouts, and throwing back a few cold ones with friends and family. But America's heritage means so much more than a couple of days off. 248 years ago, after growing weary of the tyrannical hold in Great Britain, 56 founding fathers considered the ramifications of taking on the greatest empire in the world so that they might form a more perfect union. The British colonies were plagued with heavy taxes, and they were given no voice in the British Parliament. The British Empire was completely overstepping boundaries to what the still fairly young citizens of the not yet formed United States felt comfortable with its government. Other problems rose from the Church of Europe influencing the Americas as continuing rifts in religious views clashed. The colonists believed they should not only be given a voice in government, but also be free to express themselves from whichever denomination of Christianity they wished without fear of persecution from the government. They felt their freedom of religion and not from religion was being infringed upon. Our founding fathers looked for a form of Christianity that would properly govern its people as laid out by the Holy Scriptures. In the cycle of civilization, there are basic patterns all men follow. Once a people obtain an abundance, they will be led into complacency and then apathy. Apathy will cause dependence on the system, which will lead to bondage, and the hardships of bondage will always produce great faith, which in turn will bring about courage, which will bring liberty to its people. Citing several biblical violations, founding fathers drafted and signed the Declaration of Independence as a proclamation to the world of their intentions to defect from Mother England. They felt only an educated people could properly govern themselves. And the inspiration of the establishment of private schools funded by local communities was inspired by Exodus chapter 18 verses 19 and 20. In establishing our government, these men knew the power needed to rest with the citizens who elected its leaders. They based this democratic form of government on Exodus chapter 18 verse 21. The idea of a built-in checks and balance system was formed based on Isaiah 33:22, which declared, "The Lord is my judge, my lawgiver, and my king," as reflected in our judicial, legislative, and even executive branches of our government, and our republic based on written laws came from the Ten Commandments. Furthermore, the responsibility of one's family relying solely on the individual comes from Paul's writings that a man should eat only if he works, and only infidels neglect their families. In the original Hebrew, Exodus 13 verse 18 mentions the newly formed nation of Israel as being harnessed up as for war as they left Egypt, indicating God's desires for his people to be armed. Jesus also alluded to this in Luke 22 verse 36. The psalmist wrote in Psalm 11:3, "If the foundations be destroyed, what can the righteous do?" As we can see, America has firm roots in Scripture, and it is through a proper understanding and execution of those same Scriptures that we will remain free. Both sides of the political arena have said and believe that if they have their man in the White House, things will be just fine. However, Daniel tells us God's man or king will always be in office. What's more, Isaiah chapter 3 verse 12 We are told, when we remove the pattern which God ordained for the order of both the church and the government as laid out in 1 Timothy chapter 3 and Ephesians 5 as a patriarchal establishment, we will fall under judgment. The question we remain with is, are we worthy of the king that we desire? More probably put, we are worthy of the king that we do have. Perhaps the greatest concern for the future of our country is not the condition of what goes on Capitol Hill, but the condition of our hearts. After all, are we not a government of the people, by the people, and for the people? Perhaps if the future people, perhaps if people who are called by his name shall humble themselves and pray and seek his face and turn from their wicked ways, then he will hear from heaven, he will forgive their sin, and heal our land. As we celebrate the anniversary of our nation's founding, let us take a moment to recount our many blessings. As for my personal list of blessings and gratitude, I am thankful I had the privilege to serve my country in the Navy aboard 2 nuclear submarines, the USS Jack and the USS Billfish. Both boats are now decommissioned, and I jokingly laughed, often state that even though I'm 54 years old, I have outlived nuclear power twice. I am thankful I had the opportunity to pursue an education, though almost all of it was informal, in the area of my choosing. I am thankful I had the chance to live several lives as an American sailor, an author, independent filmmaker, and after making some poor decisions that took me down a dark road of addiction for nearly 15 years, I had the chance, by God's grace, to come back and become a Bible teacher, podcast host, and a licensed preacher. None of this would have been possible without the guidance of my Savior, Jesus Christ, to whom, for the time being, I am free to worship. Today, we live in a country of religious diversity where we can still worship much as our founding fathers wanted, without socialism locking the doors of the church and arresting our preachers. During all of this, I have had the pleasure of meeting, working with, and building strong relationships with some of the greatest men and women you could imagine. We can still pursue the American dream and achieve our heart's desires if we are willing to work for it. In America, the only things holding us back are poor spiritual and mental attitudes. It is my sincere hope and prayer for all to achieve what they have been set aside for, and to thrive in that calling of their lives which they have. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. I am so happy to still be living here in America. There's a lot of problems. We can see that, but we can also say we've been seeing that for the past 50 or 60 years, and things are only getting worse. But God doesn't leave us without hope. There's always a glimmer of hope out there that God will attach to, and I see that we're in a changing world. The Bible prophecy teaches that when we begin to see all these things that are happening in the world, that we should look up, because our redemption draws near, or as the King James says, draws nigh. And I just want us to kind of take a moment today as we're out with friends and family, whether it be at the beach or cookouts or whatever we may be doing, and just remember today is a very special day in our nation's history. It's not a day of revelry. It's not a day just to take off of work. It's a day to remember what our founding fathers did. They were just a common man, just the average Joe, like the average person watching this program right now. And we don't realize that they actually took on a well-armed and well-trained national empire military of Great Britain. Can you imagine someone rising up today and taking on the United States military of the basic citizens? Not that I'm trying to say anything about treason, but I mean, that's exactly what our founding fathers did. They were just your average, tradesmen, and they were just common Joe, and they saw the injustices that were done, and they took on the challenge to break free from Britain. And this is what we have here. This is what's going on. Our freedom we should never take lightly. You know, whatever happens in one generation will be passed on to the next with greater impact. And I think that we need to be ever so mindful of that. I think we need to be paying attention. I think we need to be ready for what happens, what comes down the road. And unfortunately, most people, as I get older, I see, aren't really paying attention for the future. They want what they can get right now. And this mindset is never the way you preserve a republic, which, by the way, we have a republic. We don't have a democracy. We have a republic. That means we have rules that we go by. We have a constitution. We have amendments to that constitution to include things that were originally left out, or things that might need to be broadened, if you will, in its idea or greater explained. So we do have rules we go by. It's not just a mob rule, and that's the thing about democracy. People don't realize that if you have a true democracy, then when people panic, then you have panic and hysteria steering the country, and that's obviously a terrible way to run the country. But I want to come on here this morning. I'm getting ready to go celebrate the holiday with some family, with some friends and church family, and I want to take a few minutes to come on here. I've been on here about 10 minutes. I knew it wasn't going to be that long, but I did want to come on here and just share some ideas, share some thoughts of what was going on, and let people understand that today is a very special day. For me, I love history, and I always like to take time to do this. I listen to my patriotic music. Like I said, I'm a military vet. I served in Desert Storm, and we just need to reflect not just those in the military that did serve, but also those that never came home. There's a high price for freedom, and it's paid every day, and not just for our not for just our national security, but also for our spiritual security as well. Jesus Christ did that. So y'all stay tuned. We'll be doing more podcasts. I'm going to be back here Saturday night at 7 o'clock. I'm going to be teaching on the subject. What is the subject I got coming here? Let me see. I know I had it here. I'm going to be teaching on prophecies of the church, or hidden prophecies of the church in the Old Testament. You definitely don't want to miss that. And within the upcoming few weeks, we're going to have Shannon Shaw back on here. As always, stay tuned to this broadcast to get more videos. And also, if you haven't liked it, like and follow this page As It Was in the Days of Knowing Lot, and also on YouTube, the same page title As It Was in the Days of Knowing Lot. If you go there and find that, look up some videos there, and once that's the same videos that's here, I'm uploading and updating them every few days. I'm putting more stuff up there. So also like and follow that page as well, so you can find us on both pages. God bless y'all, and I hope y'all have a great and safe holiday. God bless.